So we'll just need the first slide, the logo. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to Compassion Arts and our Artist for Ahimsa Award interview with 2021 honoree, Dr. Aysha Akhtar. Each year, Compassion Arts Festival gives special recognition for artistry and animal advocacy by highlighting the work of a devoted individual who is helping animals by using creativity in exceptional or extraordinary ways. In celebration of these visionary changemakers, the festival presents the Artist for Ahimsa Award to bring attention to the power of creativity in helping artistry can deepen our understanding, raise awareness, cultivate peaceful change, and provide a path or platform for inspiring others to help animals as well. Our past Artists for Ahimsa honorees have included in 2018, multiple Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, writer, and director, and the founder of Argo Films, Allison Argo. In 2019, photojournalist, author, and the founder of We Animals Media and the Unbound Project, Joanne MacArthur. And in 2020, artist and the co-founder of Best Friends Animal Society and Raven's Heart Gallery, Cyrus Mejia. Next slide. This year, our 2021 Artist for Ahimsa Award honoree is Dr. Aysha Akhtar, a U.S. veteran and double board certified neurologist and preventative medicine specialist with a background in public health. She is also an author, artist, and leader in the fields of animal ethics and neurology, whose work examines the rich human-animal connection and how interspecies empathy enriches our well-being. Next slide. Dr. Akhtar is the author of the book, Our Symphony with Animals, on health, empathy, and our shared destinies, a book that combines medicine, social history, and personal experience to show how deeply the well-being of humans and animals are intertwined. The book poses that humanity's compassion for animals is the next step in our species' moral evolution, as well as the vital component of our own health. Our Symphony with Animals has been described as the definitive account for why our relationships with animals matter. Next slide. But our primary reason for selecting Dr. Akhtar for this award is for her work as co-founder and president of the Center for Contemporary Sciences, a nonprofit organization that uses creativity, innovation, and compassion in science for the replacement of animal testing. We will talk more about contemporary sciences later in the program. Next slide. Aysha Akhtar is also an artist who uses her paintings and artwork to raise funds for her work in advancing animal-free research. This is one of her past paintings here. Next slide. And pictured here is another one of her paintings titled Compassion. And you can view more of her artwork on her Facebook page or on the festival website, where we have a link to where her paintings are available for sale. Next slide. Dr. Akhtar is also a TEDx speaker who talks about the connections between plant-based living and compassion for animals with our daily lives and human health. She is also a fellow of the Oxford Center for Animal Ethics and the author of numerous articles and written works about animals and our relationship with them, all of which you can find on her website, AyshaAkhtar.com. And I love this quote, "It's not us or them, it's us and them. When we help animals, we help ourselves. And when we hurt animals, we hurt ourselves too." Next slide. Since Compassion Arts is an all-volunteer project that doesn't accept donations or have funding to be able to award grants, which we would really love to do, but currently the Ahimsa Award that we give is a painting that's created specifically for each honoree about their work. The painting is created by our Compassion Arts colleague and artist, Jane O'Hara, and it's as an expression of our support and appreciation. And I'm just going to say a little bit about Jane, and then just to let you know who she is, if you don't already. Jane O'Hara is an artist and curator who has been an integral part of Compassion Arts since 2015. Her paintings have been shown in numerous galleries and museums in both solo and group shows. Her curatorial projects exist alongside her studio practice with the focus on issues relating to animals' experience in society. Using surrealism, she creates a narrative in her work to point out how the animal condition poses a duality. Animals raised in captivity at odds with the casting of human traits on our pampered pets. Jane is the curator of Beasts of Burden group exhibit that was first exhibited in Boston, then in New York City in 2017. And she is also the co-curator of the Fifth Trust group exhibit for this year's Compassion Arts Festival. She is currently in preparation for a major exhibit in 2023 called State of the Union. That said, Jane has created the individualized paintings for each of the Artist for Ahimsa Awards every year. Next slide. This year's painting for Artist Ahimsa Award honoree Aysha Akhtar is titled A Better World. And with that, I'm going to let Jane tell you a little bit about it.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you for that very nice introduction. And so, you know, doing the Ahimsa Award painting is an incredible opportunity for me to learn about these amazing people who have devoted so much time and love and creativity to helping and educating about animals. And to then put my creative mind to the task of trying to create a painting that celebrates these gifts to animals that have been put into motion by these people, and then create a painting that they might actually want to look at. So this year for Dr. Akhtar, you know, it's a challenge when someone is so, you know, involved with so many things. And but I've just loved learning about you. And so I wanted to include some things. I wanted to include your book, which you see sitting on the stone wall. And I also have an invitation to a show that has a little piece of your painting, that one of your paintings that you've donated for the Center for Contemporary Sciences. And then I also wanted to, this other image of the girl with the dog is, I think, on your your audiobook. I'm not sure where I got it, but it's another alternative image you have on our symphony with animals. And so I wanted to put that there because it's just such a beautiful image of their backs. You can just feel the love and peace they bring each other. And then, of course, I have the animals that are just springing to freedom. And, you know, they're all typically lab animals: dogs, pigs, chimps, rabbits, mice, and beagles. So I also sort of put some bars in the far left, which kind of are fading away to the sunrise. So hopefully I've accomplished celebrating a person who is so, you know, amazing in dedicating so much of her time and energy. I listened to the TED Talk as well, and it's just wonderful what you're doing. So I hope you enjoy the painting.
Jane, I just want to say thank you so much. This is such a lovely, lovely painting. I'm got tears in my eyes right now. It's beautiful. I'm looking forward to the day when this is a reality for these animals and who are so used in experiments. And it's just, I love it. I absolutely love it. It was not anything like I was expecting, and it's just so perfect. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Hey, Sky, can you highlight Aysha or just so we can see her? There we go. Okay. So, well, I was just going to ask, before I ask the questions, I was going to ask Aysha if you could tell a little bit about, I know it's always hard to tell about yourself, but yeah, tell us just in your own words about your work. And
well, first of all, I just want to say, all of you, thank you so much for this incredible honor. It really is a lovely, lovely honor. And when I say I just love this painting, there's no exaggeration there. It's just absolutely a beautiful, beautiful painting. It's just like it captures my life's work in such a beautiful way. And so I think it's important for us to think about creativity when we think about how we approach animal protection, because, as you know, it's a hard thing to have the majority of people to stop and listen and think about how we treat other animals. And so we have to think about creative ways. And creativity was always just a huge part of my life. I think I'm more of an artist than even a doctor sometimes. And so when I was writing the book, like Our Symphony with Animals, I really was trying to find a different way of approaching people and having them think about the issues about how we think about, relate with, and treat other animals. And so the book was meant to be kind of like a journey for people to go along to really hear about people's stories and the stories of other animals, and really go on this sometimes very intense emotional journey to hopefully open their hearts out to the larger issues that we're talking about. And then so I'm trying to bring that same type of creativity to the work at the Center for Contemporary Sciences, to think differently about how we approach the use of animals in experimentation. We know how much animals are abused and used in experiments, and the suffering they experience is just absolutely, it's just immense. And at the same time, we also know that even for a human health standpoint, it's really not very good for human health. There's so many problems with animal testing for telling us what we're going to find in humans. And so we're trying to, at our organization, maybe because we're small, but we're always trying to think of creative ways and different ways to educate the public and educate policymakers and work with other scientific groups to really change things so that it's better for both humans and animals.
that's really thank you. That's really helps convey to people what I've been trying to get the message out about your work. Hey, Sky, can you take the image down? Is that all right with you folks if I take the painting down for a second so we can see you a little better? Okay. So I'm going to ask a couple questions if that's all right. So I'm going to start this question by reading a little bit. This was on your website. It's about the book. I'm going to start with the book. And it says, against the backdrop of her own inspiring story, Dr. Akhtar asks, what do we gain when we recognize our kinship with animals? Through storytelling that is entertaining, profound, and touching, Dr. Akhtar reveals what happens when we both break and forge bonds with animals. She demonstrates how humans are neurologically designed to empathize with animals and how violence against them goes against our nature. In equal measure, the love and friendship we give to other species biologically reverberates back to us. And I know you can't go into the whole book, but can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I really wanted to show really how our well-being is very much tied with the well-being of other animals. And I think that's part of I hope is a trend that's happening a little bit more globally, is that we have to realize that we cannot exist in the silos in which we have traditionally existed, where we think only of ourselves as our species. And we have to think about the other animals with whom we share this planet and about the planet itself. And so the book is really meant to be a journey to really explore the many ways in which we, when we treat animals with dignity, we treat them as the sentient beings they are, we respect their rights, we treat them with compassion and empathy, how all of that truly does even benefit us. And not that that's a reason why on its own that we should be treating other animals in a compassionate way, but it's just to show how interwoven our lives are, and not just individually, but as a whole, interwoven our lives are with that of other animals. And then it also explores some of the darker sides of things, about how when we break those bonds, as you mentioned, when we don't treat other animals as with respect and with dignity and afford them dignity, how that does actually come back to hurt us in sometimes very direct and very tangible ways. So it was my way of trying to really have folks who, especially who may love their dogs and cats, but don't think about other animals, how we treat other animals like mice and rats who are so abused in experiments, or animals in fur farms, or animals in factory farms, pigs and chickens and cows, to really think about these other animals and to broaden their I guess, we always say their circle of compassion, their compass, in a sense, or moral compass, to include those other animals as well.
And I think that's such a powerful way of doing it, like you did, through stories and through showing people where the connections are, and then people will start, maybe when they're walking their own journey, making those connections themselves. The next question I wanted to ask is about the Center for Contemporary Sciences. So I know you can't, we don't have a lot of time or whatever, but can you talk, like, what is it that the organization does? Like, if we want, yeah, so I'll just let you explain it.
I guess at the heart, what we're really trying to do is really show how the replacement of animal testing with better methods that are based on human biology is a win-win for humans and animals, to really change the narrative that it's not just with everything else. It's not about animal, it's us, it's not us or them. It's not, we have to choose animal protection versus human protection and well-being. No, it's actually us and them. And the more we move away, the more we replace animal testing, the better we will be, because we will be using methods that are superior to animal testing. And so we do this through multiple ways. We do this through education. We do this through working on policy changes to allow for more replacements of animal testing to be used. We do it through working with companies and helping companies that are creating more human relevant testing methods, and establishing partnerships with scientific institutions to kind of further the research. So what we try to do is really create an ecosystem, and that really supports and fosters and promotes more human relevant testing methods that will not only replace animal testing, but also be better for human health.
You're amazing. This is, I think, this is so important. I mean, it's again, like, it's such a difficult issue for people. So that's, I think, a way people can hear it. All right. So the next question is for you both. So I'll first ask Jane. So, what are your thoughts? I mean, on the ways that, artistry and creativity can be a real key, a vital part in the work for advancing positive change and compassion for animals. where it can be something that's really directly, I mean, I think I am asking this question because I think a lot of people think of it as, someone in the corner with a guitar, singing, Free the Chickens or whatever, and I think, so I want to try to help people see like what are some of the ways that you think that the arts can really play a role in advancing compassion for animals?
Well, I just think there's so many types of arts, so it's kind of a hard question to answer. So I'll just say what I'm interested in doing with my art, and that's I try to bring those animals alive. I put them in unusual situations often, so that you will be forced to kind of see them differently. A lot of my work I feel has sort of an enticing quality, and a lot of times people are sort of in it before they realize they're seeing something disturbing. And I think that's part of my sneaky goal too. But I really feel like most of us go through life with so much kind of blinders and, just going through habits and not really questioning things. So I try visually to put things in a way that make people hopefully think about something differently, and to hopefully open hearts by, I also like to try and, create beauty in the animals that I'm painting. So make them not a number, but an individual. So all those things. And then I also, the Ahimsa Award sort of falls in this category. I like, I have such admiration for you, Aysha, and also, others that are doing work that, is way out of my lexicon. But I like to be able to give something as basically a gift, to celebrate. And I've done that with some other animal rights people that spend their lives and time helping animals, and maybe on the front lines. And in the case of what you're doing, I have especially so happy about what you're doing, because I feel like animals in labs is this one area that people might be letting down their barriers on other areas, but it's like, no, we need that for medical, that's serious, sorry, they got to go, but what else are we going to do? We're all going to die, if we don't test on the animals. So, I haven't believed that for a long time, but I just love someone with your, gravitas can, really put the message out. And so that's another way in which I like to use my artwork.
I'm going to turn it over to Aysha.
Same question.
Same question, yeah.
Okay. Well, so I think, what Jane was saying about her using her artwork to basically you're depicting the emotional lives of animals and drawing people in that way, which I think is truly important. And outside of even just the visual arts, we need more literature, and not just nonfiction, but fiction, on the depicting animals, and not the typical animals most people think about, like elephants and tigers and bears and those sort of animals that most people already feel something for, they already empathize for. But the other animals, the pigs, the little mice, the little rats, and non-human primates used in laboratories and so on. So there's definitely a role for literature, fiction, showing the lives of these animals and showing who they are when at their best. And then also I would love to see this move into the movie industry as well, and not just documentaries, because I know a lot of people don't like to watch documentaries, because often documentaries can be rather sad and depressing. But maybe bringing some of these things more into mainstream, big screen, or what would I don't know, things have changed now as far as the screen is, but those kinds of movies, and really having sort of things that can help erase the artificial and rigid lines that we have drawn between ourselves and every other animal on this planet. And we can do that through so many different various forms of art.
Mm. Thank you. Yeah, and I know in your bio it says that one of your you'd like in the future to write and illustrate children's books. Would they be about animals?
They would definitely be about animals, yes, and sort of whimsical books about animals, and kind of teaching kids about these animals, and hopefully bringing them into being more compassionate towards these animals as well.
Mm. So my last question for both of you, I'll ask Jane first, is what is your hope for your work?
Well, that everybody becomes vegan and stops testing on animals. And yeah, I hope to open hearts and minds, simply put. I want to find more and more creative ways to try and get my vision out there. And Ellie, you and Compassion Arts has given me a lot of that, and I've been giving some presentations about my work and over the years, and through this Ahimsa award, and galleries and museums, as Ellie mentioned, the show I have coming up in 2023. I'm pretty excited about that. So that excites me because it's not preaching to the choir. It's a mainstream museum. And so I'm doing all 50 states, called State of the Union, and in it I have the backgrounds with the states, what they would like to present about themselves, some of the landscape and some of the pop stars or whatever things. And then in bubbles, I have things that go on in that state that are what I think hidden or shameful or cruel. And so it has the kind of kitschy state name. And so again, it kind of has an enticing quality. And then I think a room filled with 50 paintings of 50 states with this would be perhaps, I hope, powerful, and maybe get people looking, thinking about it. And I've already had that just happen, on a small scale, with people seeing it. They're like, what's going on with that picture? And a lot of things people don't realize go on with animals. So that's my hope, is that, I can just keep painting and keep spreading the word and talking. And I love the children's book idea. That's something I have on a way back burner at the moment, but I love the idea. Catch them while they're young. It seems like a much more levity, filled with levity type of idea.
Jane, just congratulations on this upcoming exhibit, and it sounds fascinating. It really does, and I would love to hear more about it offline if you don't mind sending me some information. It sounds wonderful. I mean, honestly, I want the same things that Jane wants. I want all people in the world to be kinder to each other and kinder towards other animals. For everyone to go vegan, and animal testing to be a thing of the past. And at the very least, I want to one day retire thinking that at least I've helped to make a deep impact in reducing animal suffering, at least to be realistic in what I hope to have accomplished. So I think that's about all any of us can hope, is that our lives had some meaning, and we used our lives in the best way that we can to kind of make this world a better place. And that's really what I want out of my life. And yeah, Yeah.
And I think, what I love about both your work in different ways is that it's, you're allowing people to take a journey on their own. It's not a thing where you're saying, believe this way, or, you must, I'm frustrated, I want you to think the way I think. You're allowing people, through your work, you're sharing stories. It's like taking people, allowing them to take the journey themselves, so that then they will make those connections. And yeah, well, I'm really deeply inspired by you both. I can't believe I got through this so far without crying. It's amazing.
No, I
I gotta
didn't
tell-
get through it without crying. I did cry. That was very unexpected for me.
No, I'm so honored to have you be our artist for Ahimsa. I mean, your work really embodies what the award is supposed to be. It's funny calling it award, but I want to find a way to lift up the work of people whose power of example is such a source of inspiration, and also to just make as many people aware of this work as I can, so that the more people, the more it just keeps getting spread around. Like it'll just, I always say it's like the way water polishes a stone. You don't see it happening all at once, but then it's over time, it's just sort of, it's changed its shape. So all right, so I'm gonna have, unless anyone has anything else to say, I'm gonna ask Sky to put up the last frame, the last slide, which I love this photo. I asked him to choose this. So just in closing, I urge people, we urge them to learn, to learn more about Dr. Akhtar's really important work for animals and for humans. Visit her website at AyshaAkhtar.com, as well as the website for contemporarysciences.org, or by reading her beautiful book, Our Symphony with Animals. And please also check out the work of Jane O'Hara at janeohara.com. And I just want to end by quoting Aysha Akhtar. I'm going to take the two different quotes and merge them together, where you say it's not us or them, it's us and them. Loving animals is good for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this beautiful honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you too, Jane. I really, please do let me know when you have any, details to share about the art exhibit. Where is it taking place?
New Bedford Art Museum. It's in Massachusetts, New Bedford.
Okay.
Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah, I'll publicize it on my social media and everything. I think